Alright, Ken Barrett, Laundromat How To. Going to a little bit deeper advanced troubleshooting here. It's a simple repair, and once I got into it I realized just what the problem was, but we just had an issue with the door latch on this little Speed Queen washer. So when these shut, the door latch, once the door lock comes on and the door latch, you can't open it. If it does open during a cycle, you get a door open alarm. It's an EDO alarm. So what the problem we actually had was this point right here was a little bit worn, so that switch would move off of it during a cycle, and it would say the door was open. So we got this piece changed out here, and then put a new door lock on, and ran it, and everything seemed fine, but the door wouldn't unlock. We couldn't actually get it open when it was all done. So got back in here, played with a few things, and kind of used it as a bit of a learning experience as well. So get the water shut off, I get the power on. You just got to make sure if you actually stuff it through, the bin will still turn, so make sure that's not hanging in there. But what we've got is, give you a little explanation how this works. Okay, so this is the back side of it. Here's the front side you're still looking at. You can see the little red dot on there. That's where I found out where I was actually connecting. So you see this one here, we're connecting a lot better onto that switch. So that piece there, when you close this, some focus here, goes up through there. And what it does is it slides this metal plate over, and slide those the metal plate goes over when those tabs right here get pushed out of the way. So at this point the plate can't slide over. If you are messing with it, just be careful if you slide over too far, it comes right out. So as this goes down on there, that takes these locks out of the way, lets that push over. Right down here, the pointer here, this spot right here is the actual lock. So when it tells it to lock, that little piece of plastic comes up, and that prevents this metal from sliding back over. It's not much. I've actually had this wear out on one other point. So once the lock set comes up, the problem we got with this is that when this latch was put in, it didn't get put over far enough, so it needs to push this over just a little bit more. So what happens, pause for 1 sec. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just doing a rapid cycle on this. So we've got an EDL alarm. The reason we have that is this wasn't over far enough for that to come up. You can see now it's going, so if you're watching the background, the drum is actually turning now. So we're going to step through this. The water's off, so it won't spray all over, but it'll still step through the cycles. We get to the final cycle, it shuts off, we get the door lock light still on, and as you can see here, a little blurry for some reason, is that piece right there is still up. So, as long as it's still up, then if I push it down, it goes out. So now the light's gone out, and that'll allow that to slide back over again. So looking into this, the reason it latched shut and it's not quite working is this latch here is all the way over there. There's a gap here, so it's not letting that piece here push the lock mechanism over far enough. So take all the screws out of the door, get through the bolts in the back side of this, and we'll be able to slide that over to keep it tight against here towards the outside of the door, and then it'll push that lock over. So if you look at one of these, you see on this one here how it's pushed right to the outside of the door and the gap's actually on the inside. So that's what I need to do to this one, and I can put it all back together. Finished pulling the face off the door, and I've got that latch moved. So as you can see now, we got the gap to the inside of the door, and it's tight up against the outside. And if you look at when it closes in here now, you'll see the gap that we've got here. So that's the lock piece there, and there's the gap. So once that lock comes up, there's lots of room in there, and it's not going to block by this. The problem I had before, that latch wasn't pushing over far enough. That piece of metal was blocking the lock from coming up, and the door would be loose and wouldn't latch quite right. So back in there now, everything's locking in tight, so we'll get it put back together. Stepped it through a cycle and locked the door and unlocked it, and now we're just running through a cycle, but everything looks good so far.